Welcome, everybody, to Tammy Tuesday, the podcast of life, love, and purpose. I'm happy you're here today. I'm very excited about our guest today, a good friend of mine and instructor at Delphi University. Steve Smith is joining us, and he's going to share all of his wisdom and experience, and I'm super excited to share him with you. Welcome, Steve. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here, too. Thank you for having me.
Of course. It's my pleasure. Obviously, you are an instructor at Delphi University, and that's just one of the many things that you do, but you have so many beautiful spiritual gifts. And those are some of the things that I want to talk about today, because I feel like our audience would really appreciate understanding those on a deeper level and the things that you do. So maybe we can start with an introduction to what you do at Delphi, maybe even an explanation of Delphi, because it would be better coming from you than from me, because you're there on the grounds. I had the pleasure of spending a week there and taking a course, in-depth channeling, which is where I met you initially, and experienced so many amazing experiences and awarenesses. And I was grateful for the opportunity. I cannot wait to get back. So maybe you can share a little bit about your history with Delphi without getting, super deep into it, but just a background so people know what it is and what it is that you do there.
Well, first of all, Delphi is basically a spiritual school, school of intuitive development and spiritual healing. I'm an instructor there. I am involved in probably almost all the instructing in parts of or full of most all the courses we offer here, as well as I offer private appointment sessions in various things, in healing and in how would you say, reading, counseling, and but mainly I've been involved with Delphi for a long time, since about 1984.
Okay. Well, and the school was founded in the 70s, right? In Florida originally?
1974.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Is celebrating his 50th year this year.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Patricia did something good.
Yeah, no kidding.
Patricia Hayes is the founder of the school. Her husband, my dad, Marshall, was also part of the founding of the school as well.
Right.
But we are there for you. We're there for everybody who wants to come and work on themselves, develop that intuitive even more, and take it back out into the world, take your light back out into the world, and begin to spread your light and help others.
Yeah,
that's what it's all for.
That's what I love the most about it. Excuse me. And that's what, I had been referred to Delphi as I was starting to walk my journey and awakening to what's possible. And like you said, really discovering that we are a light and that we're meant to share that with the world. And when I came there, it was just, oh my gosh, such a profound experience of understanding that we all have this. And I'm sure you see that with students that come in there. You probably get all walks of different people in their path and in their journey. Some people come there having no idea what this is all about. Some people come in that are already very much deeply exercising their gifts and sharing their gifts. So it's probably all over the map. I would say I was probably somewhere in the early stages, maybe starting to figure that out, but obviously continuing to walk the walk. But you also do some really fascinating things there. Some of the gifts that you have, which is, I know, part of your journey with Delphi and what you do is this trance channeling. And that was so interesting. So maybe talk about Arthur Ford and your relationship with him, because I find that interesting. That also comes from your dad originally, because a lot of you walking into this, I think you were inspired by a lot of what he did. Your father, I mean.
Yes, very much so. As I say, it was an honor to be his son.
Yeah.
And, yes, he was an extremely aware man, and I can't thank him enough for allowing me to learn from him. But trance channeling is basically it's a method of channeling, if you will, but what is called incorporation. Actually, Arthur originally, he was the one who did it, or he's the one who was a trance channel. He actually learned it from Paramahansa Yogananda. Mm. And he carried it forth, taught Patricia. Patricia didn't want to do it. She didn't like it. But Patricia taught my dad, and he did it for 25, 30 years. And I asked for many years before he taught me. But basically, Arthur is, he was a trance channel healer, speaker from probably about 1920s on up till about 3 months before he passed in 1971. He helped so many people. He's an incredible channel. His trance medium was named Fletcher. But my dad's trance medium was Arthur, and Arthur wants to work with me now. And, but we work together. He comes and sits in, I go through a process. He comes, sits in my body, uses me to talk to people. And I don't know a thing. I don't remember a thing. But the whole purpose of it is service, to help people, to help them, whatever the questions they want to ask on a spiritual sense. We do the best we know we can draw. We try to draw everything we can to help that person take their next step spiritually.
Right. Well, I love you. That was one of the things that I love about how you teach this to people is you always say, this is truly for the greater good. This is not for entertainment purposes. This is truly for helping people understand what they can bring to the world and to understand themselves and others as spiritual beings and how we can serve each other and make this place better with a deeper understanding. So in the trance channeling, because I found this so fascinating, because you did it. You actually did it for the group that we were there when I was there for when I took in-depth channeling. And I want to back up for a second, because when I went there, I didn't know, people hear the word channeling and they don't really necessarily know what that means, because it can mean a lot of things. The way I understand it is we're all an open channel, and we can receive information and guidance, and our intuition is ignited, and we can understand things and see things and know things to make better choices in our lives. And when we can open our channel and help remove and alleviate some of the blocks that we create over time in our lives, it makes it so our channel is more open, so we can receive more of that, right? And then therefore share it, which is what's so great. So with you, I remember you just saying that it's so important to understand what that is in order to receive these types of gifts. So like you said, when you channel Arthur, when he comes through to you, it's truly for the guidance and help for others to understand this on a deeper level. So, and I loved your story that you told us, which was you watched your dad and he had done this for a long time. And you said, I really want to do this. And he said, I don't know about that, son. And you said, no, I really do. And he made you earn and really understand the depth of what it was that you were going to do by doing this. So talk about that, because I found that to be such an interesting story. It was really powerful.
Basically, I asked him for probably close to 15 years if he would train me to do this, which he said no. He got to a place after a while, after much more work spiritually for doing myself. He said maybe, and he basically gave me a series of 6 questions to answer, and he said answer them honestly.
Why was his initial answer no? Because you'd probably say, why not? Why was he so sternly at a no?
He just knew I wasn't ready. Okay. I wasn't ready to face, because basically trance channeling is trust, is a process of trust, of letting somebody else come in, incorporate your body, and use your body to talk to people. Mm-hmm. You have no idea what you're going to get asked, and you better be ready. Bottom line.
Right. It's big.
So it took me 3 years to answer the question, but many write-ups and tear-ups and write again. And I finally, 3 years, I handed it back to him. He said, he read and he says, okay. But I told him, I said, whether you train me or not, thank you for the journey. Whether you train me or not, thank you for the journey. And he said, that's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear you let go of it.
Right.
And I let go of it. And it didn't matter to me, because what those questions did was take me through a very deep journey through my ego and made me face my issues, because trance channeling, you can't drag in personal issues with this. It's dangerous. You have to come pure as you can, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what's so interesting is that you had to surrender.
Yes.
You had to surrender your desire, and it had to become something that was just part of you and that was pure in essence, like you said. So it could really come in the right way and do what it is intended to do. That's the difference, right? Your ego can't be part of it.
Well, yeah. And if you really listen to that, that's kind of with everybody.
Right.
You know?
Well, with everything, with all of these gifts, right?
Yeah. But the one thing I wanted to kind of insert here was when you talked about people coming in new to the courses, to people who's been in the business 20 years. One aspect that everybody has to understand, it's not that you don't have these abilities and gifts. You do have them. All we do at Delphi is help you wake them up, remember them, to use them again. It's not that you don't have an intuitive until you come to Delphi or whatever school for them to give it to you. No, you have it. It's just a matter of waking it up.
Right.
And that's what was the process of the 3 years of answering questions. Was it woke me up, but it made me face and come to terms with, it made me face my issues.
Right.
And it was a scary journey, I might add, because but it was a matter of developing intuitive and trusting it. Trust is a huge issue in this, but with anything in spiritual work.
Right. Right. Well, because you can't hide from the truth when you're doing this type of work. You just can't. It is what it is, and you can either face it or not do it.
Well, you're going to do it with you.
Well, that's true. You're doing it, but it may look a heck of a lot different if you can really, truly surrender to it. I mean, it just changes everything.
And further is, in working, I've worked with Arthur for 13 years now.
Wow.
And it's been a journey like no other. And, but the one thing I not have to do, but I want to do, but I have to do in a way, is continue to work in that manner, and deepen and deepen and deepen. If I want to work with Arthur, I meet with Arthur twice a week. He's on the other side, but I go meet with him and talk with him. And, and that's part of the work I do with him personally, but also on myself. It's not a journey that you get off the train and then get back on.
Mm.
I got on this train 13 years ago, as far as Arthur, and there's no exit door.
Right. Well, like you said, you're in it.
Yep.
I mean, you're in it. That once you're on, and it's happening. But that's what a gift that is for you.
We're having fun.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. And it's funny. Speaking of Arthur, I remember when I was there, I stayed at this, and just to paint a picture of what Delphi is like for people that don't know, if you're people that are here locally in Arizona, if you can picture Oak Creek Canyon, I was there in the fall, and it looks a lot like that. There's a creek that runs through it. It's deep in the trees, and there's these cabins, and that's their dorms, if you will, where people that are visiting Delphi or students or just visiting stay. And there's various cabins with lots of rooms in each cabin. And I remember my friends who had been there before, they said, when I told them which room I was in, they said, "Oh my gosh, that's the room and that's the cabin where Arthur likes to visit." And I thought, "Ooh, this is going to be fun." And I already understand this because I get lots of visits all the time. So this is something that I was comfortable with. But I remember, and I think I told you this, Steve, one time when I was there, he was playing tricks on me. There was an evening where I was trying to find my glasses, and I had set them down on my book next to my bed, and I went into the bathroom to go get ready for bed, and I came back and they were gone. And I looked everywhere, and I thought, okay, very funny. And I really just laughed. I was like, this is really funny. My glasses have gone missing. Like, they truly were gone. And I looked and looked. I looked in my bags. I looked everywhere. Couldn't find them until finally I said, all right, enough's enough. And I turned around and bam, there they were. After I had turned back and they were there, and I laughed, and it startled me because it was such a, oh my gosh, this is really just happened. And I thought, okay. So I had a conversation with Arthur, and I said, "Hey, listen, I love that you're here. I'm grateful. Just be sensitive, because I don't want to feel scared. I want to feel loved, and I don't want to feel tricked. I know you're playing and it's playful and fun, and it's funny because from then on the feeling in the air completely changed. I was no longer nervous. It completely changed. And it's truly because I said, hey, please just be sensitive. That kind of freaked me out a little bit. I thought it was funny at first, but just be a little sensitive to it. And it's a real thing. And that stuff, again, when you're sensitive, those things happen and you're okay with them and you accept it. But it is funny because there is an energy there that whether you are awake, like you said, or not, you cannot not feel it. It is a very sacred place. It feels like when you go there, you're almost, and everybody told, my friends that had been there said this to me. They said, you're going to feel like you're in a time warp because you're going to go to this place and the days are going to go, they're long days. I mean, you're in class from 8 a.m. till 9:30 at night. Right. And it's an intense day. But on the same token, it goes so fast. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, where did the week go? Because you're just in this, you're in this zone, right? It's really an incredible experience. Like I said, I cannot wait to go back. The things that you do there as well is you have these connections with the people that you're in these classes with. You know, I had such an amazing group of ladies. It was only women in my class. And they were just these beautiful group of ladies. And it becomes so clear that you had pre-planned this to be there at this time with these people, because you suddenly have a new awareness of your connection to everyone and everything. So when you have those types of experiences and you're so deep into this, again, that plays into the time warp thing where it's like time doesn't really exist there. Sure. And I mean, but you're there all the time. But again, this is your life practice. So does it feel like that for you too? What does time feel like for you?
Pretty much the same, but it's sort of like you get to a point where you don't measure it.
Right.
You're not measuring it anymore. You're not, oh, the sun's going down, or, oh, the sunrise, or middle of the day. It really gets to be where it sort of doesn't matter what time it is.
Right.
You're just enjoying and being in the moment of where you are, what you're doing, enjoying this beautiful surroundings that I'm in. And so time change, as far as how we pay attention to time, it drastically changes here. And it just doesn't really matter what day it is or what time it is, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Well, it's a perspective shift because suddenly it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's irrelevant because it doesn't really matter to the work that you're actually doing and why you're there.
Well, I tell you this, I will say, time is an ego-generated perception where presence doesn't have time. Presence is in the moment.
Right. Yeah, that's a powerful statement. And it's hard for people in this human experience to grasp.
Yeah, but that's sort of what we're working towards.
Exactly.
And what we want to help. That's where you want to create your life from, is the heart presence.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother subject.
No, well, it's true. And that, again, that's what the whole, when you're waking up to your spiritual awareness and becoming aware. I remember after we had a class one day, and I was at the time still love reading books, but I came into the office and I said, okay, there's a whole library of books out there. What do I need? And you looked at me and you told me to get, Autobiography of a Yogi. And I was like, what's that? And you explained it. And I said, okay, well, done. I'll totally get that book. And I have gotten that book and consumed it. And it's not an easy read. I picked this up. I was like, oh, I'm just going to zip through this. No. Totally different experience. Oh, the way that book is written, because it talks about his journey, which is another incredible, that's a whole nother episode. But, you saying that to me, I remember I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do this, but there's such a the reason I bring that up is there is such a difference between knowledge in reading something and wisdom where you're truly experiencing it. There's just no comparison.
I agree.
And that's the difference when you're doing the type of work that you're talking about. You're in it. You are present.
Yes, I am.
Exactly.
That's where you're coming to it spiritually.
Right.
Those are two very powerful words. And by the way, what you read, the book Autobiography of a Yogi, that's living word. That's not knowledge, as you say. It's living word. And by the way, read it again.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure every time you read it, it's incredibly different.
Yes.
It's moving and changing.
It will work on you. It will definitely work on you. But yeah, it brings you present. It brings you into the moment of what you're reading. And that's where you begin to work on yourself as well. And that's why what it was intended by the book being written is to help the reader.
Right.
Through his story.
Yeah. It's
journey towards self-realization. A journey towards presence. And written by Yogananda, by the way. I study extensively his work, and what he brought through is incredible. And the basic principles of Delphi is along the same route as what he did, which is service, which is to help others. And kind of circling back, you talking a little bit about Delphi. You asked me, about what it is, what we do. We're not, in essence, teaching you anything. We're helping you remember what you forgot when you came into the physical.
Yeah.
That's why I alluded to, it's not that you don't have an intuitive and then you come here and we give you one. No, you have it. All we're doing is reaching in and saying, hey, wake it up. Remember this? Use this. It'll help you in your life. Because all we do is help you remember what you forgot when you came into the physical.
Yeah.
Get back out there and go help yourself and help others.
Right.
The basic principle.
It is fascinating and so true. And I've said this so many times. We all are this. This is what and who we are, is what you just said. It's just a matter of waking up and remembering it so you can be it.
I am.
Yeah. And that's a tough concept for people to get. It's not a simple thing. It's when we're walking in these bodies and living a human experience, it gets clouded by our ego and our traumas and the things that block us from remembering and cloud it all up. And that's what I was talking about, opening up your channel, working through that. Talk about that a little bit, because that's a huge part. Another thing you said when I was there that I remember so well. And it goes back to, because we were asking, you do all types of readings and healings and different things in your work for people to help them. And you do a lot of past life regressions. And you said, what's the most popular thing that you do? Well, I'll back up a second. This was what was really fascinating with you and I. I remember when I walked in the classroom, the first session that you were teaching, and I was like immediately like, wait a minute. Like there was something and I couldn't figure it out. And this happens so many times in our lives with people that we come across. All of a sudden there's just some weird level of familiarity and connection. And I had that with you immediately. And I thought, this is really weird. Like, I feel like I know him. And I was drawn, everybody, you all at the school, you offer different services that for students to take part in when they have their little bit of time. So we're in class the most of the time, but you do get like 5 minutes. No, I'm kidding. But you do get one afternoon free, I should say, to pursue something like that. And all the instructors there do such beautiful things. I mean, the services that you did, I remember I read everybody's list of services that they provide, and there's, healings and therapies and past life regressions and all types of things. And under yours, you had several. And when you were speaking to the classroom, we said, what is the most popular thing that you get requests to do for people? And you said past life regressions. And that's when you went on to say, the thing that's tricky about that, though, is a lot of people are doing it for the wrong reasons. They're doing it because they're curious, or they want, it's like almost an entertainment purpose. And really, it's a tool.
But not the wrong reason.
Okay.
Not to.
Right. No. Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're wrong. I just say I have all things that we do that happen around us, that we experience are for the purpose, or all of our experiences, let's just say that. All of our experiences that we have in our life are for the sole purpose of directing ourselves within. So I'm not saying, they're wrong.
Right.
But they're, why would you do it if you want to find out who you were or something like that? Past life regression is for healing.
Right.
It's for going back, seeing what you took on in a past life that you brought forward into this life, that's manifesting in this life that you can't quite figure it out and is not doing too well. And here's a tool for you to access that and change the thought, change your actions, change your choices in this life, where you can begin to change that. Because now the key to all spirituality is awareness. If you're not aware, how can you heal it?
Heal. At the root, it's about healing, period.
Yeah, but you got to be aware of it to heal it.
Right.
If you're not aware of it, how do you know what to heal?
Yes. So it's powerful.
Yes. Awareness is the key to it all.
So you can't just take it. I guess the point is you can't take it just to the level of, cool. Now I knew that I was that in my past life. It's, oh, wow. Okay. I'm reliving this.
Yeah.
Now I'm aware of it. So let's move through it.
You bring it from the subconscious into the conscious now, the awareness, become aware of it. And I mean, finding out who you were, okay, you found out. Now what?
Right.
No offense to anybody.
No, but it's true. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. If you want to do it, okay, do it. But this is for healing. This is, that's what you want to do. But like I said, all experiences that you have in your life are for the purpose of helping you. These are the teachers that you draw to you. This is the hard, as I call the hard medicine. Everything that you experience in your life is because you attracted it into your life.
Yes.
That's the hard medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of it for people have been tough. I know that. It's easier said than done. But every experience we have in our life is because we attracted it into our life for the purpose of working on ourselves to heal, to gain insight so we can take that next spiritual step.
Right. So we can continue to evolve.
Yeah. Experiences are to wake us up. Experiences are for us to become aware.
Yeah.
And take that next step. And spirituality is not a to-do list thing. It's not, I think I'll be spiritual now, and then I'll put it back on the shelf and be it a little. No, it becomes, speaking of being here at Delphi and what we do here and being in this energy and all, it becomes a way of life.
Right.
It's not something we do anymore. It's a way of life. We constantly look. We're constantly working. Everything, even nature out there. How am I like you? It shows me. It even speaks to me as far as how I can help myself spiritually.
Yeah.
And now that may sound a little weird, but
no, but it shows your connection to everything.
Nature's a great teacher, but all the experiences are teachers for you.
Yeah.
And if you get to work, but you gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. It's not a one and done.
Yeah.
It's not proverbial bag of money dropping out of the sky hitting your head. Oh, I'm self-realized now. No, it doesn't work that way. You got to do the work.
Well, and it's consistent.
Yeah. But it's a heck of a journey.
Right.
And it's fun. Yeah, you got your speed bumps along the way, but it's a wonderful journey. And if you're willing to, you're going to hit some speed bumps. You're going to hit some rubs, as I call them. Okay. Those are things that you took on that's trying to come up, so you be aware of them so that you can heal them and let them go and be free. And it has to be free to heal itself, what you took on, because it's living, not dead.
Right. That's fascinating what you just said. That's a really important point, because it's not just about you. It's about that too. That also needs to be released for its own healing.
Exactly. That's living.
It's energy. It's all energy.
Right.
Yeah.
It served you up to this point. It may be uncomfortable, but that thing that you took on that's been kind of rubbing you serves you. It serves you because it pushes you toward awareness. So even though we might call it negative, it still pushes you toward the light.
Right.
And then it gets to a point where it says, I can't push you anymore. You've become aware. I'm ready to go. I need to evolve like you need to go on. So you heal it, let it go. So it can be free and evolve as well as you take that next step. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does to me. I hope it does to people listening, because I agree with you. Everything, all of it it's energy that is trying to evolve and move through and be, right? And when we hang on to those things, they become, like you said, we see them as pain points, or as you call them, rubs, and they're adversities that we have to manage in our lives. But once you can, it's like a perspective shift.
Yes.
When you can change your awareness / perspective on whatever that thing is, it makes it easier to release it. So it can then be released, and it's no longer hindering you from making joy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly.
So keep going.
Can I throw one more thing in there real quick?
Yeah.
And remember one thing about working on yourself spiritually. And you heard me say this, because I tell this to class as much as possible, because I think it's so essential that we understand this. What you do for yourself to heal, to become aware for yourself, you also affect every soul out there in that way. You what you do affects all souls out there. So if you meditate, do your healing, do your work, you're affecting all souls, the collective, you might call it, this in the same manner, in the same positive. That makes me so excited.
Because it's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but you remember, and also vice versa, or
yes,
on the other end, if you're getting ready to let's just say, as I call it, deliver a diatribe of negativity towards somebody, you have that moment. Hopefully you will have that moment before your delivery to go ask the question, who am I going to affect with this? And the answer will come, hopefully, I'm going to affect all souls negatively by delivering this. And you might think, that might not be a good idea.
That's powerful.
If you can catch that moment and ask that question and know who you're going to affect when you begin to react.
Right. Well, and by the way, not just all souls, but hello, yourself.
Yes. Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
You know, you think it's revenge or whatever it is that you're going to do that may not be the nicest act or kindest words or whatever, you know, and how it has an effect. That actually brings me to another point you talked about, because you're a master meditator. You're very, very good at this. And this is obviously a huge piece of your practice and your consistency with being I am. Right. So when you do that, that's another powerful way to look at that, because when you're doing that type of inner work, it is affecting everyone.
Yes,
exactly. It's so powerful. I don't know that people realize just how much that's real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything you express, everything in all your words and all your deeds, actions, you affect all souls. And everything, not some things, everything you do.
Right.
Don't get obsessed. Don't get obsessed with it. You're going to fall off. You're going to make mistakes or whatever. Okay, fine. Be aware. Know what happened. Make amends. Learn, and step forward.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
The killer, the underneath killer of it all is self-judgment.
Yes.
Don't get caught in that. Don't, self-judge. Oh, I made a mistake. Okay, so we all make them. Okay, fine. Just pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, keep walking, and learn from what you did rather than judge yourself for what you did.
Right. Well, that keeps you stuck when you're constantly judging yourself. You can't move forward. You're in the mud.
Exactly.
You just can't. You can't move forward. So we have to release self-judgment. And that is, like you said, that's the killer.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest human challenges I think we face is self-judgment.
But that all boils down to this. The core issue is that, if you heard me say this, of choices. We create our life through the choices that we make. What choice do we want to make? Do we want to make the choice to deliver that? Do we want to make the choice of saying, wait a minute, we can make this an experience where it can work for who's involved initially, but for all souls as well. We can make this work. Come from your love, not your power.
Yeah.
Power, the ego knows how to seduce you with power. And that is being better than that person. But it's choices, it's the choice. That's what creates your life.
Well, and like you said, there is a moment when you say, what choice am I going to make? Is it going to be this? Or am I going to say, wait a minute? Does this make sense? It's that pivotal moment before you act or say or think or do.
It's that space between going towards it and actually doing it that you ask the question.
Yeah. Just that awareness is big. Just that awareness needs to be, people need to understand that, because that's it.
And going back to what you asked about meditation. That's the golden highway. That's where you're going to increase that space of which is awareness, which is presence. That's where you're going to build that through meditation, consistent. In other words, make meditation the center of your life. Let everything else revolve around it. Begin to establish a place in your home that you can be with yourself. Turn off your phones. Tell everybody, I'll be with you in about 15 to 30 minutes. Just allow me to be. And give yourself this time for meditation, for peace, for I am. And allow yourself just to be with yourself. That's powerful, affecting also other souls, giving yourself that time. And no, you won't lose anything, because what you do is you become a light, a sun, S-U-N. And where does the sun's rays radiate?
Right.
In all directions. So everybody in your family, everything in your life, that light goes into that and begins to bring somewhat of a synchronicity to your life. And that's through meditation.
That's a beautiful way to explain that when you do that practice, it becomes a light that it just permeates everything.
Yes, yes.
Because it's so bright, you cannot not do that. Yeah. I mean, it's like the sun. It's going to penetrate whatever it hits. So that's powerful. And I also find that interesting that you said the more you do that, the more it expands that space of determining that choice, action versus the consideration of it, right? It helps you see it the way I'm visualizing this for myself is when you say that, it's when you can meditate and have presence with yourself, that time expands. So all of a sudden you see it more clearly.
Right.
You realize that that's actually about to happen. And you can say, oh, wait a minute. That's not the choice I want to make. And I see it now versus the quick snap judgment or response or action, whatever it is that you're going to do.
Right.
It opens it up for you.
Yeah. It's basically a choice. Do I want to create from the ego, or do I want to come and create from my heart?
Right.
That's that space, which is presence. You have that ability, and meditation builds that space to where you're in presence. And might I add, once you fully come into your heart, be present, be the I am, is that you step out of choice and into knowing. There's no longer choice. A knowing is the feeling. And creating from feeling is spontaneous. It's without thought. It's just expressing that love in everything, putting love, expressing it in everything you do. It doesn't become a choice anymore. It becomes the feeling of knowing, or knowing a feeling.
Right.
And it's spontaneous.
Yeah, it's like it's just a new awareness.
Yeah.
It looks totally different.
And that's where you want to create your life from.
Right. Wow. So, and people that hear people like us talk about this, so it's a lot easier said than done, right? They say that. And I can, just from what I know of you, I mean, you have gone through some major life events just in this life that have, created challenges for you that you had to work through and actually practice what you just said. You lost your wife. I mean, you've gone through some real pain, and you've managed to, not easily, because it's always work. And, like you said, you dust yourself off and you figure it out, but it's not easy. So speak to that a little bit, because that's where people tend to challenge this idea. They say, well, you don't understand. This happened to me, or this is that, and this hurts, and it is real. But how can people take that, like you said, and look at it from a different perspective and awareness that it is there serving you, and you actually attracted it?
Yeah.
It's a big one.
That was a very life-changing experience in my life. But about a couple of months after her passing, I sat down and I looked at everything, and I was like, I asked a question to myself: what is this trying to teach me about myself? And I began that part of the journey through this, and it's been eye-opening. And if I might share, just actually recent on a personal level, is that okay?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
I had this past Friday night, I forget the date. What's the day? 23rd, 22nd, 21st, 19th, I think, Friday night, May 19th.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dream that
April
was
19th.
April 19th, I'm sorry. I had a very vivid dream with her.
Mm.
And me personally, I've been feeling a little stuck, a little like, okay, where's my life going? But in the dream, it was so vivid. I wanted to remember all of it. And I woke up and it was like all gone except just a couple of tidbits. It was like, okay. But she was very beautifully dressed, very colorfully. But she was getting ready. I was helping her get ready to go somewhere. I don't know where. And I was like, okay. And what I came upon through meditation, and I work a lot with Buddha, good time with the Buddha.
Mm-hmm.
But in working with him, he helped me understand that, where you are, you're now coming back totally into your energy, where some of your energy was dependent on how her energy was, how she felt, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And the dream was telling me that she is getting ready. She has worked on the other side and getting ready to step into her next sequence, her energy, her next step. And this is what this has been teaching me, selling my house, being in this space, which I'm thankful, but I'm ready to move, but, feeling a little stuck.
Mm-hmm.
But the stuckness was serving me.
Right.
Hey, Steve, you need to step fully back into your own energy and all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does to me.
Okay. And she needs to be free. In other words, and this is the one thing that even Buddha talks a lot about, it is attachment.
Right.
That's what causes suffering.
Oh, that's powerful.
I was attached to her energy. She to mine. Codependent, right. Commonly called.
Right.
This was a process of letting all that go. And
wow.
that's the realization I came upon with the dream. And I was helping her go so I could go to my next step. We couldn't take those steps without unattaching from the energy and letting our own energy come back fully into our own energy, each of us.
Right. I understand what you're saying.
Which is what happened.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's huge. I mean, that's huge. That's like you said, you were ready. Both of you.
Yes.
Were ready. And that's why it happened.
It was 3 years yesterday that she transitioned.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It was a full moon.
Oh yeah. Wow. Oh, Steve, that's beautiful.
Well, that's okay to share.
Of course it's okay to share. I love that you shared that. That's what I'm saying. I for people to understand what it is and how this works, it changes how you experience joy and love and peace and evolution, how you can continue to move forward.
Yeah, I agree. But
it's powerful.
The one thing I learned as well from this was, and I tell this to everybody, look at your life, look at your relationships you have in your life. Look I know some things are not well in your life. Okay. See what they're teaching you. But the main thing is that cherish your life. This is what this taught me. Every moment of your life, because you don't know when your life will change.
Right.
In a snap of a finger, which it did for me.
Yeah.
And the one of the lessons I learned was to appreciate how wonderful my life is. Not that I didn't, but it just gave me a whole new perspective and appreciation and love for my life and all the people and the work I get to do.
Yeah.
It gave me a whole new level of appreciation and love for it. And that's what that taught me. I kind of told Spirit, I said, it didn't quite need to be that hard. Okay. But okay. Everybody has their choice. But, I cherish your life, look at, begin to make those loving choices, if you will, and try to make your life better as much as possible. And look at the things that you feel working against you and see what they're teaching you. And I promise you, when you start to look at them, how they're teaching you about yourself is when then you can let them, things will start to change for you. But you got to do the work.
Well, it's like you said, it's almost like at that point you can have a level of release so you can be free to move forward.
Yes.
It's like those things anchor you to being stuck.
Yeah.
And even on the other side, the conversations I remember we had about her on the other side and how she was stuck, and clearly she's doing the work. She has been doing the work, and you were able to see that, and both of you realize, okay, we are ready. Yeah. We're ready to let go of this so we can move forward.
Yeah, where I found her. I realized I was there too.
Whoa. Wow. So, when did you realize that?
That was probably about 6 months ago. I realized where she was.
Huh.
And I went down there and in the valley, I'll just call it that. And there she sat.
Huh.
And I told her, you got to move. And she gave me a diatribe of language that I won't tell. But I kept going to her and say, you've got to move. And I know where she was. I'm familiar with the place. And I told her after a few times of you got to move, I said, there's a path out of here. I know this path because they take hikes down this path to the bottom of this place. And you and I are going to walk this path out. And I've been doing that periodically for about 3 to 4 times a week, going to her and moving her, making her take a step. And I've been doing that for 6 months. And I think I've been solidly for 6 months. And I think that's why I had that dream Friday night.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
She got to a place where she was like, she woke up and she said, yeah, I'm ready. Okay, let's go.
So you know what this makes me think of? And you probably have seen the film, What Dreams May Come.
Yes. Yes.
It feels like that's what you're describing.
I didn't think of that.
Really? I don't know how long it's been to do. It's an older movie, but I saw it not too long ago. And I thought of you, and I thought of a lot of people that I know. And I thought, oh my gosh, I understand. It was just such a, cinematically, it was a great, from what I can understand, illustration of what you're describing. You know, like how we can be stuck and that we can choose not to be stuck. Whether we're, you know, in the afterlife or whether we're here having this experience right now, it's the same. And like you said, your realization of, I was there too.
Yeah.
I thought she was there and I was saying, you need to, but no, it's we.
Exactly.
That's big.
Yeah. I was there too.
Right. Wow. That's like, oof, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing.
But the bottom line of looking at it all and going, what am I to learn from this?
Right.
Or I can stay in mourning. I can stay in grieving. Not that I'm not grieving. Yes, there's a contingency of that still going on. I think it'll go on for a while, but I am aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a choice of whether you want to stay groveling in it or step up out of it and go, what is this to teach me? And how, you know, it's teaching both of you. And if you can do that, guess what? Who are you affecting again? All souls.
Yeah.
But if you stay in the muck and the groveling or whatever, guess who you're affecting?
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like we got to take ourselves out of it for a second and say, this is having a massive impact. I think that I'm just in my own little dark space, but it's having an impact on everyone.
Yeah.
And we don't realize how, that's the thing. We don't realize how connected and how powerful of a light we are. I mean, that light is out. It's felt.
But it never goes out.
But what I mean is when it's clouded, when you're not in it, when you're not really ignited or awake or, you know, the sun, you know, I mean, there's a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's a definite difference. I mean, but that too is helping you.
Right.
What I'm getting to here, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What I'm getting to you, even though it seems negative, it's actually helping you.
Right.
All the teachers that are to appear to you, you have attracted to you. The good experiences and the interesting experiences.
Yeah.
Attracted to you. Why? To learn about yourself. You know, if you just want to get rid of something, as you probably, I think I told this in class, I said, you ever thrown a boomerang? Where does the boomerang go when you throw it?
Yeah.
It comes right back to you. When you just want to get rid of something negative or whatever, you're throwing the boomerang. You got to do the work.
Yeah. There's no shortcuts.
No.
You can't just throw it away.
But you everything you experience, you draw to you. Mm-hmm. That's the hard medicine. But I drew that experience to me. I made that choice. I experienced with her 18 years of wonderful life. And some may say, well, you did, how did that happen? How did you attract that into your life? I said 18 years ago or 19 years ago when I met her, we married, we fell in love. That was a knowing and a choice as well that we made together. That's when I made that choice, if you will, let me go that way.
Yeah.
And that was saying, I accept whatever, we're going to walk through this together no matter what happens, because we know it all is for a wonderful experience.
Right. Well, for our growth.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's for our growth. Regardless of, like you said, the happy and the interesting, staying away from negativity. But yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, it's the thing that I love about as I walk and understand my own self and my spirituality and what it means. It really does just change your perspective on things. You just see things differently. And again, you don't always see them the way you want to see them. Sometimes you see them in a way you don't want to see them, but you still got to see them.
But then they ask, why am I seeing it this way?
Exactly. That's the thing. That's the question. It's like, okay, here it is. I don't really like this, but what are you doing here? Why did I bring this here? You know, what's this for? Okay, I need to look at it and figure it out and move through it. It's interesting, but very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. That's really, really beautiful. And I'm happy that to hear your release to that. I think that's really great. I'm happy for you. And her.
And her too, you know. And remember, she, like anybody else knows who gives up or not gives up, but decides to go to the other side, or as we call the astral. They're not gone.
Right.
They're physically gone, yes. And that, you know, you miss that. To be bluntly honest, you miss it. But they're not gone. You still can work with them. You still can see, experience with them, visit with them. I do with my dad.
Yeah.
He passed 6 years ago. And I go meet him on the grassy fields of the Irish coast overlooking the ocean.
Yeah, you talked about this. Let's talk about that for just a minute, because I find that interesting and something for people to understand, that when you do connect with people that are on the other side, they're in their space, man. They're right where they want to be. And when you can meet them there, that's somebody else was saying, one of the other instructors there was talking about someone else that they went, and I think it was Charles. He was talking about how he plays cards. They play bridge or something. Him and his mom, or I can't remember who it was, but
It was Arthur playing with Patricia.
Yes, it was Arthur. You're right. Yes.
They go play bridge.
It was you that said that. So it's so interesting, because you go and you're in their happy place.
Yeah. Yeah. But they still have to deal with their stuff too.
Even over there. That's what's fascinating, right? It never stops.
Yeah. You know, I'll just be brief on this, not to get morbid, but you don't want to leave. It's harder over there than it is here.
That's a big point.
It's not going to be better over there. The only thing it's going to change is you won't have a physical body. You're still going to have to deal with all your stuff. The same as you're dealing with it here. But here it's easier. Why? Because we have time in between thought and manifestation.
Yes. This is something that you said that I say, and this is great. You talk about manifestation here and on the other side. And you talk about how you better get really good at manifesting here, because when you're there, the second it even comes into your awareness, it's there. You have it. So you better be real clear what it is that you want. We have the grace of time here to let it happen. There, you're in it. So you better know what it is you want and what you're manifesting, because you're going to have it.
Yeah, here you have time to change your mind.
Right. Exactly.
Over there, it's you know, yes, you got to have an emotional connection. Usually you do. But the second you bang, it's there.
Yeah.
So, and then you have to sort out, okay, you start manifesting things that you actually don't need anymore, like food, sleep, things like that over there. No, you don't need any of that anymore.
Right. It's like a new learning curve.
Yeah, it's like growing up again.
Wow.
grow in a different way. You don't have to go see the doctor and all that, but you still got to deal with your stuff. You still got to do the work.
Yeah. Wow.
And even Arthur, he's still doing his work. He's still dealing with his stuff, but yeah, you want to, whenever you decide to go, and naturally, I might add,
Hopefully naturally, yes.
meaning when you're supposed to go, why not begin to devote some thought to what you want to do when you get there? Meaning you want to probably see your loved ones, of course, and then get to work. Begin to put out your desire, your love, as to attracting people or attracting experiences or people on the other side that maybe offer meditation groups and things, because those centers and people are all over there in the astral too. And they offer, just like Delphi offers, classes and things like that. That's the same thing over there. And begin to seek out those. You don't have to have a job now. You don't need to make money over there. You can spend as much time as you want meditating and learning, and because that's almost constant over there.
Right.
And because you don't have to do all the other stuff. Over here we have to earn our keep in order to keep doing what we're doing, basically.
Right.
Over there you don't.
But it doesn't mean that it's easier.
No.
It's just different.
Scrape off the physical stuff, and it's going to reveal even bigger what you got to deal with.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
It does make sense. It's very fascinating.
Not to scare people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of these conversations, and that's why I love these conversations and why I feel called to share them with the world, because it's a perspective shift, and it can help you see things in a different light, where it might make you just, maybe I ought to consider this, for those that don't do this type of work, So it's
right.
necessary and helpful. And that's why we talk about these things here. I appreciate all your candor and your sharing of your experiences. It's powerful. And these are stories that people can relate to and people can't relate to. It's both.
Right.
So
right.
I appreciate it.
But
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, how can people engage with you? Do you do some of the work that you do remotely for people? How is there, outside of actually going to Delphi, how do they engage with you? What's the best way for them to interact with you, to see and experience some of your gifts and what you bring to the world?
I don't do that much online, but if you give a call to Delphi, or the website, delphiu.com, you can get in touch with us, send us an email, address it to me, and request what you want, and I'll get back to you, and we'll work it out, see how we can work it. If it's online, okay, we can do online.
Yeah.
But that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I know people, they ask, so that's why I'm asking you that. So, and I can't say it enough to people that are listening to this. Delphi University is a really amazing place. There's a lot of schools that do these types of studies and understandings and experiences. Delphi is incredible. I highly, highly recommend it. Like I said, I cannot wait to go back. I have every intention of being there and spending more time there for sure, because I have a lot of work to do myself. I know that.
We all do. We all do. I do too.
I know, but it's good stuff. So thank you so much for joining me today, Steve. I'm grateful for your time. I'm grateful for your love and energy and everything that you share. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tammy. And thank you so much for doing what you're doing, because you're spreading a beautiful light. You're broadcasting a beautiful light through through what you do personally, as well as what you're doing with your podcast. And believe me, it has a wonderful, wonderful effect on all souls.
I'll take it.
Thank you so much for your light and what you do. It's fantastic.
I appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you. Thank you.
It's appreciated.
Thank you all for joining us today on Tammy Tuesday, the podcast of life, love, and purpose. You can find more information at tammytuesday.com, as well as follow us on social media at Tammy Tuesday Life. Please don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, comment, all of the things on any platform that you're listening or watching from. We are on YouTube as well. It helps people that need this message and are seeking this message find it easier. So please share with anybody who you feel needs it. And as always, sending you with lots of light, love, and light. And remember, life, love, and purpose, it all begins with you. Peace out.